If you're new to Google Sheets or Excel or writing formulas in spreadsheets at all, you're probably looking at this and going, what the bloody hell is this? We've got a big mess, some writing, some letters, some signs, commas randomly here. What's this weird looking thing? And then speech marks and words inside. I don't know what to do. This is too crazy, right? And how can we possibly make sense of all this mess? It's like some crazy alien weird language, right? And it's impossible to understand. Well, good news for you. I'm going to teach you in the next 7 minutes. I can be real quick. 7 minutes. I'm going to teach you 8 symbols, and we're going to tell you exactly what they mean. And this is going to make it 50 times easier for you to look at this and start to understand what the blimming heck is going on. So, 7 minutes. See you there. So the first one we've got, number 1, is parentheses. They're these things. And they do 2 things. They show what's going inside a function, and they are used just like they are in maths, if you remember back to school days, to override the normal order of operations. Let's check that out. Okay, so here we are inside Google Sheets, and what we can see is that we're going to use the parentheses to outline what's going to be inside the function. So we've got a sum function here, and we're going to apply it to, let's say, these numbers. And we close the bracket. There you go. So that's summed up these numbers. If we want to change that, we can put it up to, for example, these numbers. And now all these numbers are inside the bracket, so the sum function is applied to them. The other use we've got is our order of operations from maths. So I learned it was called bed maths, but there's probably different systems of doing it. Basically, multiplication and division come before addition. So normally when we look at this, it would be 5 plus 4 times 9. Like, first we multiply 4 times 9, and then we add 5 to it. But with a bracket, with parentheses around, we can change that. So it's going to be 5 plus 4, 9 times 9. So let's just have a quick look at how that looks. Here we've got 4 times 9, that's 36, plus 5 is going to be 41. And here we've got 5 plus 4, which is 9, times 9, which will be 81. So those are the 2 uses for parentheses. On to the next one. So now we've got good old-fashioned colon. And what this does, it shows a range of cells. So for example, A1 to B4, so including all of the cells in that block. Let's have a look. So right now I'm just clicking on an individual cell, and if you can see up here, it's saying this is cell B3, this is cell C3, this is cell C4, etc., etc. What I can do is select a bunch of cells. So for example, B2 to C7, and I've got all these cells. That's a range, and you'll notice that there is a colon in between them. And just like before, where we had our sum function here, we're going to put the whole range. And we say we're choosing everything from C2 to C7. So it's C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, C7. That's the range using the colon. Next thing we've got is a comma, which separates arguments, and arguments are the parts of a function. So for example, here we've got XLOOKUP, and then we've got a cell, and then we've got a comma, and then a range, and then a comma, and then another range. So what it's doing is separating the parts of the function. Let's have a look. So here we have some data about some pirates and what they're known for, their name of their ship, their home port, what they're known for apparently, and their pirate's name. So let's use that XLOOKUP function. So we can see that the first part of the function is the search key. So that's what we're going to be looking for. We're going to be looking for, let's say, the name of the pirate. And that's going to be Captain Kidd. So the next part of the argument is the lookup range, and it's separated by a comma. We're going to be searching for it in this range. And then the next part is the result range, again separated by a comma. And we're going to be looking for the hobby or the pirate. So what we can see is that straight away, Captain Kidd, I think it was A5, is known for solving Rubik's Cubes. We go on to the next one, and it's this crazy looking beast called an ampersand. And it's very simple, basically sticks things together. So just like we use it in normal language as an and, it's kind of the same thing inside Google Sheets. Example here is cat and dog. Have a think, how's it going to look if we stick cat and dog together? Let's take a look. Here we've got a cat, and we've got a dog. Let's see what happens when we stick them together. It equals here this and that, and we've got cat dog, just like that old show. So maybe we want to change this to cat and pig, and then it automatically changes. There, the and is basically sticking them together. Alright, next one, we've got these 2 angle brackets. They're the same signs as you use for greater than and less than, but when they're both stuck together, they mean not equals. So A4 doesn't equal 0 here. Let's see how that one works. So here we've got some numbers, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and here we've got a little bit of a logical test. And what does this say? It says that if what's in here is different to here, then write different, otherwise write the same. That is, it's easy to see. So this is what we've got in here. If it's different, write different. This, otherwise write the same. So at the moment, what's in here is the same, and that's why it's showing the same. So let's test that out. We can change this to 7. Oh, they're different now. 6 and 5, and now it's the same. I.e., it is not different. Next one we've got is speech marks, and that just creates a string, which is like a line of characters. Basically, characters different to numbers. So, like a word like horse, it's just a word, it's just a bunch of letters and maybe numbers and spaces and other things stuck together. That's what we call a text string. Speech marks tell you where those strings end and begin. And if we go back to this example here, we've got this test there which is saying that if this is different to that, then write different, which is a string. It's a bunch of letters that looks to us, because we speak English, looks like a word different. And then and in the other case, put it as the same. But we could put something different in here. It doesn't have to be a real word. We could write this, a bunch of random letters and numbers in there, and that would be fine too. I didn't change it in the actual formula. I just changed it in the demonstrating one. So there we go. This is just used to make a text string. $sign, this is a favorite one. This one is used to lock in references. So if you don't know about dynamic and relative and fixed referencing, this is what you need. But basically, it just means that what you're pointing to stays in place. It doesn't move around. So for example, I've got $9, that just means cell A9. And if I move my formula around, doesn't matter. It's always going to be pointing to A9. If I don't have the $sign, and then I start to move my formula around, it might change to A10 or B9 or moving around. So let's go back to our different, same little test here, and let's see how it works. So if I lock this part of it, so it's got $G, $4, so that's going to stay the same. And the other one, the E4, isn't locked. So what happens when I move the formula all the way down, the G4 is going to stay the same in all the cells, always G4, but the E is going to change as I move down. And if I change it again so that this one's locked, look what's going to happen. Each time I move the formula, now the G is changing. Why is the G changing? Because there's no $signs locking the reference. And finally, this is in more of an advanced one, but you're all pros by now, aren't you? So we'll do this one too. It's the curly brackets, and this creates an array, which is like a set of numbers. So for example, put here 4, 5, and 6 inside our array. So that's not just going to give us a cell that equals 4 or 5 or 6. It's going to give us 4, 5, and 6 across. Let me show you what I mean. So here we have a 4, a 5, and a 6 together. And what? But there's only a formula in this cell B4, and it's going a 4, and then go across, and a 5, and then across, and a 6. So this is just a 5 that's sitting here, and a 6, but there's nothing, there's no formula, or there's no number input into these cells. It's like a formula inside this B4 that's going across. So it's like a set. I've made a set of 4 and 5 and 6. And that is called an array. It can be very useful, for example, if I want to build a formula and then have at the bottom a line that says total, for example. And then it doesn't matter, even if the length of the list changes, the next line will always be the next formula. So I can build some pretty cool, or you can build some pretty cool dynamic formulas and functions using this curly bracket notation. And that's it. So now we've come full circle. Now you are ready to tackle a great big mess of a formula like this with ease, show off to your friends, your neighbors, your family, your grandma, and now you know the basics of the syntax of the language of Google Sheets functions. Take care out there, guys. Bye-bye.